I'm jumping back on the bandwagon for one more video, and I'm updating the last one because, well, I feel like it's more of a quick look instead of a full dive into the issues around Sunhaven. That's right, the internet has made me actually script out another Sunhaven video, something that I have not done in a very long time. This will not be a review. It will not be a deep dive into mechanics. It will be, hopefully, a short and somewhat simple explanation of the main problems surrounding the question of whether or not this game will be worth it for you or your friends at this moment. First, let's define the game. Sunhaven is a farming sim RPG that is similar in many ways to Stardew Valley, Rune Factory, or Story of Seasons. The main things that make it different are the 3 unique areas that you can explore in the game, and the different homes and lifestyles presented in each. These other 2 areas, that I'm not mentioning for potential spoiler reasons, unlock as you play through the story, and they have their own crops and mines, but I'll leave you to discover more about those if you play the game. All of this is done well, but let me introduce you to the real problem that this game has, and probably the single greatest factor in whether or not this game is worth the price to you. The multiplayer. While the gameplay in the single player is good enough to make for a solid game, the multiplayer raises many question marks over whether I think that you, a potential player, will enjoy the game. Jumping away from Sunhaven for a second, in a traditional multiplayer game like this, I would expect that someone hosts a game on their farm, players make a character unique for that farm, so effectively they cannot use them in other places. And what this would allow is for things like a shared story, cooperation, shared progress, and a sense of living in the same world as other players. But I can see that this does have its downsides, such as me not being able to move a character from my single player game over to a multiplayer game, or being able to play with my character when the host isn't online. So why do I bring this up? Sunhaven's biggest problem is that they attempted to fix those problems by giving you a persistent character, a la Terraria. On their own, persistent characters aren't really a bad thing, but due to them existing, a ton of design decisions were made that make the multiplayer feel bad? Quest progress is individual to each player, meaning that on any given day, week, or month, players will have access to wildly different areas and game states because, again, those other areas from the beginning are unlocked with quests. Okay, we can work around that, right? But there is another area that annoyed me more than usual. In a recent patch to the game that I barely discussed on this channel, Sunhaven added bosses to the game for many different areas. And the first one that you meet highlights one of the lowlights of Sunhaven's multiplayer decisions. Most of the bosses in the game have 0 cooperative elements between the players, and in many, there's even instancing in a local multiplayer game so that you can't do them with friends even if you want to. And if this wasn't bad enough, there are side effects for not completing these bosses. And if I do them but you don't, those side effects persist for both of our games because we're both in the same world. This is an astoundingly terrible game design decision for this game and is probably one of, if not the biggest reasons that people have been refunding the game so far. And don't get me wrong, there are other issues like bugs making it feel like Russian roulette whenever somebody joins a multiplayer game. but bugs can be patched. How does someone fix core design decisions within their game? So there it is. The number one issue explained as shortly as I could because I felt like my last video did a very bad job of actually tackling the issue. I won't be making any more Sunhaven videos unless there's some massive change to the game or more issues pop up that make me change my mind in either direction. But my final verdict is this. Sunhaven is a good single-player farming game, and it's completely worth the price if you want to play it like that. The multiplayer, though, is a much bigger hit or miss. And honestly, if that's all you're looking for in the game, I recommend two things. Either buy it with a friend on Steam, try it for an hour, and refund it if you don't like it, or just pass by. Don't touch it. Because honestly, the problems can be that bad. So, I'm sorry about this video. Despite how all of my Palia videos may seem, I do not enjoy being negative, especially about smaller indie games that are trying to bring new things to the scene. And I honestly only made this video because I felt, in retrospect, that a ton more people were looking at the last video that I put out than I had expected. And, well, I don't feel it gave a good picture of either the Sunhaven problems or my channel in general, so I needed to update it. I'm sorry, but thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.